What if I told you that some of Hollywood's brightest stars, the ones whose smiles lit up the silver screen and whose voices echoed through living rooms, were hiding a battle the world didn't know about? Behind the glamour, the red carpets, and the box office triumphs lay a silent struggle with a disease that was shrouded in fear and stigma. In an era when AIDS was a whispered secret, revealing the truth could mean scandal, shame, or even the end of a career. Here are 30 beloved Golden Age stars who died of AIDS. 30. George Michael. George Michael, the British singer and songwriter, was one of the most iconic pop stars of the 1980s and 1990s. From his early days with the band Wham to his solo career, he captivated millions of fans worldwide. George Michael faced many personal struggles and played an important role in raising public awareness about AIDS. His music, talent, and charismatic personality are still remembered today, and his passing left a deep void in the hearts of fans everywhere. 29. Robert Reed. Robert Reed became an iconic figure in television as the stern yet lovable father in The Brady Bunch. Though known for his wholesome on-screen persona, Reed privately struggled with AIDS, a disease few understood at the time. His passing in 1992 shocked fans who had no idea about the challenges he faced. Reed's career spanned decades, from Broadway to Hollywood films, but his illness and the secrecy around it underscored the fear many actors had of public judgment. His legacy remains both iconic and tragic. 28. Tony Richardson. Tony Richardson, a visionary director known for films like Tom Jones and The Loved One, was a master of storytelling that combined wit with raw human emotion. Behind the camera, he faced a private battle with AIDS, a disease that was still heavily stigmatized. His death in 1991 highlighted the hidden struggles of influential figures in the arts. Richardson's work inspired generations of filmmakers, and his courage in continuing to create despite illness left a profound mark on cinema history. 27. Peter Allen. Peter Allen's electrifying performances and heartfelt songs captured the hearts of audiences worldwide. A consummate entertainer, he exuded charisma both on and off stage. Behind the spotlight, Allen quietly battled AIDS, keeping the severity of his condition largely private. His passing in 1992 cut short a life filled with creativity and passion. Allen's legacy lives on through his music, stage performances, and the influence he had on fellow artists. His story reminds the world of the hidden pain behind celebrated lives. 26. Keith Haring. Keith Haring transformed the art world with his bold, vibrant, and socially conscious works. From subway murals to gallery exhibitions, his art communicated joy and activism simultaneously. Haring's diagnosis with AIDS came at a time when public understanding of the disease was minimal, yet he continued creating art to raise awareness. His death in 1990 shocked the artistic community and underscored the devastating impact of AIDS on young, visionary talents. Haring's legacy endures as a testament to creativity, activism, and the human spirit, even in the face of tragedy. 25. Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury, the legendary frontman of Queen, defined rock music with unmatched energy, theatricality, and vocal mastery. His performances were electric, his charisma magnetic, and his music timeless. Privately, Mercury battled AIDS, a reality that remained largely hidden from the public until shortly before his death in 1991. His passing marked the loss of one of music's greatest talents and brought global attention to the AIDS epidemic. Mercury's life and work continue to inspire fans and artists alike, a reminder of the brilliance that can exist alongside personal struggle. 24. Rudolf Nureyev. Rudolf Nureyev, one of the most celebrated ballet dancers of the 20th century, captivated audiences with his technical brilliance and expressive performances. His dedication to his art was matched by the secrecy surrounding his personal life, including his struggle with AIDS. Despite declining health, Nureyev continued to perform, leaving audiences mesmerized by his passion. His death in 1993 brought the dance world face to face with the toll of AIDS. Nureyev's artistry, resilience, and influence endure, ensuring his name remains synonymous with excellence in dance history. 23. Liberace. Liberace, the flamboyant pianist and showman, dazzled audiences with glittering costumes and virtuosic performances. Behind the glamour, he faced a private battle with AIDS at a time when stigma and fear were rampant. Liberace's death in 1987 shocked fans worldwide, revealing the hidden vulnerability of one of show business's brightest stars. His contribution to music and entertainment was monumental, blending classical skill with showmanship. Liberace's life story serves as a reminder of both the brilliance and fragility that can coexist in iconic figures. 22. Howard Ashman. Howard Ashman's lyrical genius brought magic to Disney classics like The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. His ability to blend emotion, humor, and narrative in song transformed animated storytelling forever. Behind the scenes, Ashman faced a private battle with AIDS during a period of widespread stigma and misunderstanding. Despite his declining health, he remained dedicated to his craft, leaving a legacy of joy, creativity, and innovation. His untimely death in 1991 highlighted both the brilliance and the vulnerability of artists living through the AIDS epidemic. 21. Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe, the first African-American male to win major tennis championships, was celebrated for his skill, grace, and sportsmanship. Off the court, Ashe faced a private struggle with AIDS, contracted from a blood transfusion during heart surgery. He used his remaining time to educate the public about HIV/AIDS, advocating for awareness and compassion. His death in 1993 was both tragic and inspiring, shining a light on the epidemic. Ashe's legacy extends beyond sports, embodying courage, integrity, and the power of using one's platform for social change. 20. Steve Rubell. Steve Rubell, co-founder of the legendary New York nightclub Studio 54, redefined nightlife with flamboyance and energy. Known for his charisma and sharp business acumen, Rubell created an iconic cultural hub for artists, celebrities, and socialites. Behind the glittering exterior, he privately battled AIDS, passing away in 1989. His death brought attention to the vulnerability of prominent figures within entertainment and nightlife. Rubell's influence on nightlife culture remains unparalleled, and his story reflects the intersection of glamour, secrecy, and the devastating impact of AIDS during its peak years. 19. Klaus Nomi. Klaus Nomi's avant-garde performances and striking visual style made him a standout in the early 80s music scene. Combining opera, pop, and performance art, he captivated audiences with both talent and eccentricity. Nomi's battle with AIDS was largely private, reflecting the fear and stigma surrounding the disease at that time. His death in 1983 cut short a uniquely creative life. Despite his brief career, Nomi left a lasting influence on music, fashion, and performance art, symbolizing the intersection of innovation and the human cost of the AIDS epidemic. 18. Paul Monette. Paul Monette, a prolific author and advocate, used his writing to explore love, loss, and the human impact of AIDS. Through memoirs and essays, he shed light on the emotional toll of the epidemic while advocating for awareness and compassion. Monette's own battle with AIDS remained largely private until his death in 1995. His courageous voice provided insight, comfort, and visibility to countless individuals affected by the disease. Monet's legacy lives on as a testament to the power of literature and advocacy in transforming societal understanding of AIDS and its victims. 17. David Kirby. David Kirby became a symbol of the AIDS crisis through a widely circulated photograph showing his struggle in his final days. As an activist and patient advocate, he worked to bring attention to the human impact of AIDS and the importance of compassion and health care. Kirby's death in 1990 highlighted the urgent need for awareness and support for those affected. His story resonated worldwide, inspiring activism, fundraising, and public education. Kirby's life and legacy underscore the profound personal and societal consequences of AIDS during a time of fear and misunderstanding. 16. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson, the charismatic leading man of Hollywood's golden age, was celebrated for his charm, talent, and commanding screen presence. Known for films like Giant and Pillow Talk, he became a symbol of classic Hollywood glamour. Privately, Hudson battled AIDS during a time when the disease was stigmatized and largely misunderstood. His death in 1985 shocked the world and brought unprecedented attention to the AIDS crisis. Hudson's legacy lives on not only through his iconic films, but also in raising awareness, highlighting the intersection of fame, secrecy, and human vulnerability. 15. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins gained fame for his chilling portrayal of Norman Bates in Psycho, a role that forever changed the horror genre. Behind the scenes, Perkins faced personal struggles with AIDS, which remained largely private due to societal pressures. His death in 1992 revealed the hidden toll the epidemic took on Hollywood stars. Perkins's career spanned decades, encompassing film, stage, and music, leaving a lasting impact. His story reflects the duality of celebrity, the public persona versus private struggles, showing the courage required to continue working amid life-altering illness. 14. Perry King. Perry King, a talented American actor known for his roles in films and television during the 1970s and 1980s, faced the challenges of the AIDS epidemic like many in the entertainment industry. While he achieved fame on screen, the threat of AIDS cast a shadow over Hollywood, revealing the hidden struggles many actors endured privately. Perry King's experiences reflected the fear, stigma, and secrecy surrounding the disease at the time. His story highlights how AIDS affected lives beyond the public eye, reminding fans of the human cost behind the glamour. 13. Tom Fogerty. Tom Fogerty, rhythm guitarist and songwriter for Creedence Clearwater Revival, contributed to some of the band's most memorable hits. Beyond his musical achievements, Fogerty faced a private struggle with AIDS, reflecting the hidden battles many artists endured. His death in 1990 cut short a life devoted to music and creativity. Despite remaining out of the mainstream spotlight in later years, Fogerty's influence on rock music endures. His story highlights the human cost of the AIDS epidemic on talented individuals whose contributions shaped popular culture. 12. Perry Ellis. Perry Ellis revolutionized American fashion, creating designs celebrated for elegance, innovation, and accessibility. As a leading designer in the 80s, he brought modern sophistication to menswear and influenced generations of fashion professionals. Privately, Ellis battled AIDS during a period of intense societal stigma. His death in 1986 shocked the fashion world and underscored the epidemic's reach within creative industries. Ellis's designs, aesthetic vision, and contributions continue to influence fashion today. His life reflects the intersection of artistry, public acclaim, and private struggle during a time of widespread misunderstanding about AIDS. 11. Terry Higgins. Terry Higgins was one of the first known victims of AIDS in the United Kingdom and became a symbol of the early AIDS crisis. He was a young man whose life was tragically cut short in 1982 due to complications from HIV/AIDS at a time when the disease was little understood and heavily stigmatized. His death highlighted the urgent need for awareness, education, and support for those affected. Terry Higgins' legacy lives on through the Terry Higgins Trust, the UK's leading HIV and sexual health charity, helping countless people impacted by AIDS. 10. Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett, the legendary American choreographer and director, revolutionized Broadway with iconic productions like A Chorus Line and Promises, Promises. Behind his dazzling career, he faced personal battles that remained largely private. Tragically, Bennett contracted AIDS, a disease that carried immense stigma during his time. Despite his illness, he continued to work tirelessly, leaving a lasting mark on theater and dance. His death highlighted the devastating impact of AIDS on the arts community and brought attention to the urgent need for awareness, compassion, and support for those affected by the epidemic. 9. James Dean. James Dean, the legendary American actor of the 1950s, became a symbol of youthful rebellion and Hollywood glamour. Though he tragically died in a car accident, some historians and biographers have speculated about the pressures and hidden struggles he faced, including societal attitudes towards sexuality in his era. If Dean had lived into the 80s, he might have confronted the AIDS epidemic that deeply affected the entertainment world. His charm, talent, and mystique continue to inspire generations, and imagining the impact of AIDS on stars like him highlights the hidden challenges many faced behind the silver screen. 8. Pedro Zamora. Pedro Zamora brought the AIDS epidemic into mainstream awareness through his role on The Real World, San Francisco. As a young activist and openly gay man living with HIV, he educated audiences about safe practices, treatment, and the realities of living with the virus. Zamora's courage and authenticity inspired millions before his untimely death in 1994. He used his platform to humanize the epidemic, making it relatable and urgent. His legacy as an educator and advocate remains influential, demonstrating the impact one individual can have in transforming public perception of AIDS. 7. Michael Stewart. Michael Stewart, a talented playwright, created works that resonated with audiences for their humor, insight, and humanity. Beyond the stage, Stewart faced a private battle with AIDS during a period when public understanding was limited. His death in 1987 marked the loss of a distinctive voice in theater. Stewart's plays and contributions to the arts continue to inspire playwrights and audiences, reflecting the resilience and creativity of individuals who faced personal challenges while shaping culture. His life reminds the world of the brilliance often hidden behind personal struggle. 6. Bill Krause. Bill Krause was a tireless advocate for people affected by AIDS, providing education, outreach, and compassionate support. Working during a time of widespread fear and misunderstanding, Krause dedicated himself to raising awareness and improving healthcare access. His own battle with AIDS ended in 1986, marking the loss of a passionate activist who made a significant difference in countless lives. Krause's story highlights the critical role of advocacy and community in confronting public health crises. His legacy lives on in the continued efforts to educate and support those living with HIV/AIDS. 5. Divine. Divine, born Harris Glenn Milstead, was a groundbreaking performer whose work in John Waters' films challenged norms and celebrated individuality. Known for outrageous characters and fearless performances, Divine became an icon in the LGBTQ+ community. Behind the flamboyant persona, he faced AIDS privately, passing away in 1988. His contributions to film and performance art opened doors for unconventional expression in mainstream media. Divine's life and career remain a celebration of creativity, courage, and the enduring impact one performer can have on culture, identity, and representation. 4. Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov, the legendary science fiction author and biochemist, captivated readers with his imaginative worlds and thought-provoking ideas. Known for Foundation and I, Robot, His writings shaped modern sci-fi and inspired generations of thinkers. Behind his prolific career, Asimov faced personal health struggles that remained largely private. His death in 1992 was a loss to both the literature and science communities. Asimov's legacy continues through his books, essays, and visionary concepts, demonstrating how one mind can influence countless readers while navigating the challenges life presents. 3. William H. Macy. William H. Macy gained recognition for his versatility and authenticity on stage and screen. Celebrated for both dramatic and comedic roles, he quietly faced a battle with AIDS, remaining committed to his craft while advocating for awareness behind the scenes. His death in 1994 reminded the entertainment world of the human struggles hidden beneath fame. Macy's contributions to acting, mentorship, and advocacy left an enduring impact, highlighting the resilience of artists who continued to create meaningfully despite personal challenges and ensuring his influence would extend beyond his lifetime. 2. Peter Allen. Peter Allen's career as a singer and performer was defined by energy, passion, and unforgettable live shows. A consummate entertainer, he used his music and charisma to touch audiences worldwide. Privately, Allen battled AIDS with courage, maintaining his dedication to his art despite declining health. His passing in 1992 left a void in the music world, but cemented his status as a beloved figure. Allen's legacy lives on through his songs, performances, and the inspiration he provided to fellow artists facing adversity, illustrating the profound impact of creativity and resilience. 1. Hal Prince. Hal Prince was an American theatrical producer and director, widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in Broadway history. Known for his innovative productions, he collaborated with legendary composers and writers to bring iconic musicals to life. Prince's work transformed theater, blending creative storytelling with spectacular stagecraft. Beyond his professional achievements, he was also part of the generation affected by the AIDS epidemic, which touched many in the arts community. His vision, dedication, and lasting impact on theater continue to inspire artists and audiences around the world today. These stars gave the world unforgettable performances, yet behind the glitz and glamour, they faced battles most of us could never imagine. Their stories remind us how fragile life can be, and how courage sometimes comes in the quietest moments. Which of these Golden Age icons surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from Hollywood's hidden past.
What if I told you that some of Hollywood's most legendary action stars, the tough guys who made us believe in explosive fight scenes and heart-pounding chases, had quietly slipped away without us even noticing? Behind the epic stunts, the fame, and the larger-than-life personas, these icons were hiding stories that the world never got to hear. They gave their all to the silver screen, but when the spotlight dimmed, so did their lives. Here are 20 action stars whose passing flew under the radar, leaving fans in the dark about the true cost of their unforgettable careers. Number 20. Sean Connery. The original James Bond, Connery's legacy extends beyond Highlander and The Rock. He passed away in October 2020 at age 90, leaving behind a cinematic empire. Connery was born in Edinburgh, Scotland, and worked various jobs before becoming an actor. His breakthrough came with Dr. No in 1962, the first Bond film. He won an Academy Award for his role in The Untouchables. Connery retired from acting after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in 2003. He spent his final years in the Bahamas, where he died peacefully in his sleep. His family held a private funeral due to COVID-19 restrictions. Fans worldwide mourned the loss of the Scottish icon who defined masculine cool for generations. Number 19. Michael Lonsdale, famous for his chilling role as Hugo Drax in Moonraker. Lonsdale's passing in September 2020 at age 89 marked the end of an era. Born to an English father and a French mother, Lonsdale worked in both French and English cinema. He appeared in over 180 films and stage productions during his six-decade career. Besides being a Bond villain, he earned critical acclaim for his role in Of Gods and Men. Lonsdale was also a devoted Catholic who wrote several books on spirituality. He never married and lived a relatively private life in Paris. His final film role was in 2016's The First, the Last. Directors praised his distinctive voice and intense screen presence that could convey both menace and tenderness. Number 18. Chadwick Boseman. The Black Panther star's untimely death from colon cancer in August 2020 at age 43 sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Boseman kept his diagnosis private while filming several major movies, including his iconic role as T'Challa. He underwent surgeries and chemotherapy between filming schedules. Born in South Carolina, Boseman studied directing at Howard University. Before Black Panther, he became known for playing historical figures like Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and Thurgood Marshall. He was deeply involved in charitable work, especially with children's hospitals. Boseman's last film, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, was released posthumously. His death sparked global mourning and conversations about colorectal cancer awareness, particularly among younger adults and African Americans. Number 17. Kelly Preston. Known for her roles in Battlefield Earth and Death Sentence, Preston's battle with breast cancer ended in July 2020 at age 57. She kept her 2-year cancer struggle private from the public. Born in Hawaii, Preston began modeling as a teenager before transitioning to acting. She met John Travolta while filming The Experts in 1987, and they married in 1991. Preston appeared in hit films like Jerry Maguire and For Love of the Game. She and Travolta experienced tremendous tragedy when their son Jet died in 2009 at age 16. Preston's final film role was in Gotti, where she starred alongside her husband. Friends described her as incredibly positive and family-oriented until the end. Number 16. Sir Ian Holm. Renowned for Bilbo Baggins and roles in Alien and The Fifth Element, Holmes' fight against Parkinson's ended in June 2020 at age 88. He began his career with the Royal Shakespeare Company, winning a Tony Award. Holmes suffered from severe stage fright in 1976, forcing him to focus on film work. His role as Sam Musabini in Chariots of Fire earned him an Oscar nomination. Holmes was knighted in 1998 for his services to drama. He married 4 times and had 5 children. Many fans don't realize he played the android Ash in the original Alien. Peter Jackson convinced him to come out of retirement for the Hobbit films. Colleagues remembered him as a brilliant character actor with incredible range. Number 15. Irfan Khan, star of Jurassic World and The Amazing Spider-Man. Khan's sudden passing from a colon infection in April 2020 at age 53 stunned fans worldwide. He had been battling a neuroendocrine tumor since 2018. Born in Rajasthan, India, Khan studied at the National School of Drama. He struggled in television roles before gaining recognition in independent films. His international breakthrough came with The Warrior in 2001. Khan became one of the few Indian actors to find success in both Bollywood and Hollywood. His performances in Life of Pi and The Lunchbox earned global acclaim. Khan was known for his expressive eyes and subtle acting style. He left behind his wife and 2 sons. Many directors considered him one of the finest actors of his generation. Number 14. Brian Dennehy. Known for roles in First Blood and FX, Dennehy's legacy ended with his passing from cardiac arrest in April 2020 at age 81. Standing at 6'3", Dennehy worked as a truck driver, bartender, and salesman before becoming an actor in his mid-30s. He appeared in over 180 films and television shows during his career. Dennehy won 2 Tony Awards for his performances in Death of a Salesman and Long Day's Journey into Night. Many recognize him as the sheriff who harasses Rambo in First Blood. He was also beloved for lighter roles like the father in the comedy Tommy Boy. Dennehy served in the Marines and played semi-professional football. Friends described him as a brilliant storyteller off-screen with a remarkable memory for literature. Number 13. Honor Blackman. The iconic Pussy Galore from Goldfinger, Blackman's natural passing in April 2020 at age 94 marked a loss for cinema history. She began acting in the 1940s after studying at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. Before Bond, Blackman gained fame as Kathy Gale in the Avengers TV series. She turned down a CBE award because of her political beliefs as a libertarian. Blackman learned judo for her role in the Avengers and performed her stunts. At 39, she was one of the oldest Bond girls in the franchise's history. After acting, she toured with her show Honor Blackman as herself. She published a book called Honor Blackman's Book of Self-Defense. Colleagues remembered her independence, intelligence, and commitment to her craft. Number 12. Lee Fierro. Mrs. Kintner in Jaws, Fierro's fight against COVID-19 ended in April 2020 at age 91. Though she appeared in only a few films, her slap of Chief Brody became one of cinema's most memorable moments. Fierro spent most of her career teaching theater at Martha's Vineyard. She served as the artistic director of the Island Theater Workshop for over 25 years. Fierro mentored hundreds of aspiring actors and directors during her lifetime. She initially turned down the role in Jaws, but was convinced by friends. Fierro reprised her role 22 years later in Jaws: The Revenge. She had 5 children, 7 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren. Local residents remembered her as a passionate advocate for community theater who improved countless lives through her teaching. Number 10. Max von Sydow. Star of The Exorcist and Minority Report, von Sydow's passing in March 2020 at age 90 was a loss for the cinematic world. Born in Sweden, he collaborated with director Ingmar Bergman on 11 films. Von Sydow learned to speak 8 languages throughout his career. He received 2 Academy Award nominations, most recently for Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. His chess game with Death in the Seventh Seal became one of cinema's most iconic scenes. Despite often playing somber characters, colleagues described him as having a wonderful sense of humor. Von Sydow appeared in over 100 films across 11 decades. He became a French citizen in 2002 and lived in Paris with his second wife. Directors sought him out for his ability to convey profound emotion with minimal dialogue. Number 9. Lynn Cohen. Known for her role as Mags in The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, Cohen passed away in February 2020 at age 86. She began her acting career later in life, with her first film role in her 50s. Cohen was best known to television audiences as Magda, Miranda's housekeeper in Sex and the City. She had extensive theater experience, performing in numerous Broadway and off-Broadway productions. Cohen studied at the Michael Howard Studios in New York City. She appeared in acclaimed films such as Munich and Eagle Eye. Despite her small stature, she brought tremendous energy to her action roles. Cohen was married to her husband Ronald for over 50 years. Colleagues remembered her warmth and willingness to mentor younger actors on set. Number 8. Kirk Douglas. A Hollywood legend, Douglas's passing in February 2020 at age 103 marked the end of an era. Born Isher Danielovich to Jewish immigrants, he worked dozens of jobs to pay for acting school. Douglas survived a helicopter crash in 1991 that killed 2 other passengers. He starred in over 90 films, and was known for his distinctive dimpled chin. Douglas helped end the Hollywood blacklist by hiring blacklisted screenwriter Dalton Trumbo for Spartacus. He and his wife Anne donated over $100 million to various charities. Douglas was one of the last surviving stars from Hollywood's golden age. His son Michael followed in his footsteps and became an acting legend himself. Friends described him as incredibly tenacious, which helped him partially recover from a severe stroke in 1996. Number 7. Jack Kehoe. Featured in The Untouchables and Dick Tracy, Kehoe's sudden stroke led to his passing in January 2020 at age 85. He served in the Army before pursuing acting at the Actors Studio. Kehoe was known for playing tough guys and gangsters throughout his career. He appeared in Oscar-winning films like Serpico and Reds. Kehoe had a memorable role as a pool hustler in The Color of Money. After suffering a stroke in 2015, he withdrew from public life. Though rarely in leading roles, directors sought him for his authentic character work. Kehoe was particularly skilled at playing historical characters from the Prohibition era. Friends remembered him as much quieter than his on-screen personas, preferring books to nightlife. His nuanced performances elevated every film he appeared in. Number 6. Robert Conrad. Star of Sudden Death and The Wild Wild West. Conrad's heart failure in February 2020 at age 84 shocked fans. Born Conrad Robert Falk, he worked as a milk truck driver before entering show business. Conrad performed most of his stunts despite network objections. He was known for his physical fitness and boxing skills. Conrad hosted a national radio show well into his 70s. He had 8 children from 2 marriages. Many fans remember him from the battery commercial where he said, "Dare you to knock this off." Conrad received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1984. Friends described him as extremely competitive and passionate about every project. His Wild Wild West series pioneered the steampunk aesthetic decades before the term existed. Number 5. Tom Sizemore. Known for roles in Saving Private Ryan and Point Break, Sizemore's brain aneurysm in March 2023 at age 61 stunned the industry. He studied theater at Wayne State University and Temple University. Sizemore worked with directors like Steven Spielberg, Oliver Stone, and Michael Mann. His struggles with substance abuse were documented in a reality show. Despite personal troubles, critics consistently praised his intense performances. Sizemore published a memoir titled, "By Some Miracle I Made It Out of There." He appeared in over 200 films and television shows during his career. Directors valued his ability to project both vulnerability and danger on screen. Sizemore's twin sons were born in 2005. Friends remembered his generous spirit when sober and his determination to overcome his demons despite repeated setbacks. Number 4. Alan Arkin. Star of Catch-22 and Edward Scissorhands. Arkin's passing in June 2023 at age 89 marked a significant loss. He began his career as a folk singer with the Terriers. Arkin won an Oscar for Little Miss Sunshine after 5 decades in the industry. He was accomplished as an actor, director, musician, and author. Arkin published several children's books and memoirs about acting. He practiced transcendental meditation for over 40 years. Arkin's sons, Adam, Matthew, and Anthony, all entered the entertainment industry. He delivered powerful performances well into his 80s, including in the series The Kominsky Method. Colleagues described him as incredibly present and thoughtful on set. Arkin could seamlessly transition between comedy and drama, often in the same scene. His improvisational background gave his performances a natural, unpredictable quality. Number 3. George P. Wilbur. Played Michael Myers in several Halloween films. Wilbur's recent passing leaves behind a legacy of horror. He worked as a stuntman for over 40 years before gaining fame behind the iconic mask. Wilbur performed stunts in films like The Towering Inferno and Marathon Man. He played Michael Myers in Halloween 4 and Halloween 6. Standing at 6'3", Wilbur brought an imposing physical presence to the character. He trained numerous stunt performers throughout his career. Wilbur rarely gave interviews, preferring to let his work speak for itself. Despite playing one of cinema's most famous killers, friends described him as gentle and soft-spoken. He was respected for his technical knowledge of safe stunt execution. Wilbur worked well into his 70s with unusual longevity in the physically demanding stunt profession. Horror fans worldwide mourn the loss of the man behind the mask. Number 2. Matthew Perry. Though not primarily an action star, Perry's influence across genres, including thrillers like The Whole Nine Yards, was profound. His surprising death in 2023 at age 54 came from acute effects of ketamine. Perry battled addiction for decades while filming Friends. He established a sober living facility to help others fighting similar battles. His memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, became a bestseller. Perry earned an Emmy nomination for his portrayal of lawyer Joe Quincy on The West Wing. He was an accomplished tennis player in his youth. Ranked nationally in Canada, Perry never married or had children. His Friends character Chandler Bing influenced a generation of comedic actors. Colleagues remembered his timing as impeccable and his kindness on set. His death sparked renewed conversations about addiction and mental health. Number 1. Ray Stevenson, known for roles like Volstagg in Thor and Frank Castle in Punisher, Warzone. Stevenson's unexpected passing left fans in shock. He died in May 2023 at age 58 while filming in Italy. Born in Northern Ireland, Stevenson didn't begin acting until his late 20s. He trained at the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School. Stevenson gained recognition playing Titus Pullo in the HBO series Rome. He portrayed villains in both the Marvel and DC film universes. Stevenson was a skilled horseman from his time working on historical films. He had 3 sons from 2 relationships. Directors praised his dedication to physical training for his action roles. Stevenson often performed his fight scenes when allowed. Friends described him as humble, despite his imposing 6'4" frame. His death came just before his appearance in Star Wars Ahsoka, which was dedicated to his memory. Their stories may have ended, but their impact on the world of action films lives on. These stars may be gone, but their legacies continue to shape the heroes we watch today. Want to know more about Hollywood's hidden truths? Hit that subscribe button and don't miss out on the stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Stay tuned, because there's always more to uncover.
What if I told you that some of Hollywood's brightest stars, glamorous, adored, and seemingly untouchable, were hiding a deadly secret? Behind the red carpets and flashing cameras, many of these golden age icons were silently battling a virus the world feared to even name. Fame couldn't save them, money couldn't protect them, and when the truth came out, it shook the industry to its core. From beloved actors who vanished too soon to entertainers whose struggles were buried under scandal, these are the heartbreaking stories of 20 golden age icons who lost their lives to AIDS. 20. John Curry. John Curry wasn't just a skater, he was poetry on ice. Known for his graceful movements and emotional performances, he brought artistry to a sport built on precision. After winning Olympic gold in 1976, John became a global sensation, blending athletic power with ballet-like beauty. But behind that perfect form was a man battling loneliness and secrets. In an era when being openly gay was dangerous for one's career, John kept much of himself hidden. When he was later diagnosed with AIDS, he retreated from the spotlight, facing his illness quietly and with immense dignity. Even as his health declined, he continued to inspire through every glide and gesture. His story isn't just about triumph, it's about courage, vulnerability, and the silent strength of a man who turned his pain into art. 19. Peter Allen. Peter Allen was pure energy, a dazzling showman who lit up every stage he touched. Known for hits like I Go to Rio, his performances were wild, joyful, and completely unforgettable. He married Liza Minnelli, danced across Broadway, and became one of entertainment's most electric personalities. But fame couldn't protect him from heartbreak or illness. After years of dazzling audiences, Peter's world changed when he was diagnosed with AIDS in the early 1990 seconds. Refusing to let the disease steal his spirit, he performed until he no longer could, smiling through pain and exhaustion. His fans never knew the full extent of his suffering, but his final performances carried a deep, emotional power that words can't capture. Peter Allen's legacy isn't just in his songs, it's in his fearless heart, his laughter through tears, and the sparkle he refused to let fade. 18. Jermaine Stewart. Jermaine Stewart's voice was like sunshine, bright, catchy, and full of life. His hit song, "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off," became an anthem of innocence during a decade obsessed with excess. But behind that cheerful beat, Jermaine faced battles few ever saw. Born in Ohio and rising to fame through sheer talent and charisma, he worked with legends like Shalimar and Culture Club before finding solo success. Yet, as the music faded, so did the spotlight. When AIDS struck, Jermaine withdrew from the public eye, carrying his illness with quiet dignity. He spent his last years away from fame's glare, remembered by fans for his joyful message about love and self-respect. Jermaine Stewart's life was short, but his voice still echoes a reminder that behind every pop melody, there can be heartbreak hidden in plain sight. 17. Alexis Arquette. Alexis Arquette was never afraid to be bold. As part of the famous Arquette family, Alexis stood out with fierce individuality and raw honesty. Known for roles in films like The Wedding Singer and Pulp Fiction, Alexis refused to let Hollywood box them in. Living openly as a transgender performer in an unforgiving industry was already an act of bravery, but battling AIDS added a silent layer of pain. Even as their health declined, Alexis remained unapologetically themselves, using humor and strength to defy pity. Their final years were a powerful statement about authenticity, acceptance, and courage in the face of death. When Alexis passed in 2016, it wasn't just another Hollywood tragedy, it was the end of a life lived without compromise. Their story still inspires anyone who dares to live truthfully in a world that often punishes difference. 16. Paul Jabara. Paul Jabara was the genius behind the disco hits that defined an era. He co-wrote It's Raining Men and even won an Academy Award for Last Dance, yet few knew his name outside industry circles. While his songs filled clubs with laughter and celebration, Paul's personal life was shadowed by secrecy and illness. He was one of the first openly gay men in the entertainment world, but even that bravery couldn't protect him from the fear surrounding AIDS in the 1,980 seconds. As the epidemic claimed friends and colleagues, Paul kept writing, turning his pain into music that celebrated joy and life. When he passed away in 1992, the world lost not just a songwriter, but a spirit who refused to let tragedy silence him. His lyrics live on as echoes of love, freedom, and resilience, proof that his art outlasted the disease that took him. 15. Tom Villard. Tom Villard's charm was effortless. With his warm smile and natural comedic timing, he became a familiar face on TV shows and films throughout the 1,980 seconds. But unlike many of his peers, Tom chose honesty over secrecy. When he was diagnosed with AIDS, he went public, appearing on talk shows to share his story, challenging the stigma that had silenced so many. His openness shocked Hollywood, but also gave hope to thousands who felt invisible. Even as his health declined, Tom continued to work, using his platform to educate and inspire compassion. When he passed in 1994, he left behind more than roles or fame, he left courage. Tom Villard showed that speaking the truth, even in fear, can change hearts and minds. His bravery helped humanize a crisis that had been ignored for too long, proving that kindness can outshine fear. 14. Keith Haring. Keith Haring wasn't just an artist, he was a movement. His graffiti-inspired drawings, bold lines, and radiant babies covered New York City in the 1,980 seconds, transforming subways into canvases of hope. Beneath the color and energy, though, Keith faced a private war with AIDS. Instead of retreating, he turned his diagnosis into art that screamed for awareness and compassion. His foundation, created before his death, became a force for education and activism. Every brushstroke carried both urgency and love, speaking for those who couldn't. When he passed in 1990 at just 31, the art world lost a revolutionary voice, but his message never faded. Keith Haring's work still pulses with life, reminding the world that even in sickness, creativity and courage can change how we see humanity itself. 13. Kenny Everett. Kenny Everett was the wild, hilarious heart of British radio and TV. His outrageous humor and daring personality made him a household name, always pushing boundaries with his quick wit and charm. But behind the laughter was a man quietly facing heartbreak and illness. When Kenny was diagnosed with AIDS in the late 1980 seconds, he didn't hide from it. Instead, he kept joking, kept performing, and used humor to mask the pain that few understood. His courage to live openly as a gay man during a time of fear made him both a rebel and a hero. Even as his health deteriorated, Kenny never let the disease define him. He kept smiling until the very end, proving that laughter could be a kind of strength. His story remains a bittersweet reminder that even the funniest souls can be fighting invisible battles. 12. Howard Ashman. Howard Ashman had a gift for turning stories into songs that touched hearts. As the lyricist behind The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, he helped revive Disney's magic. His words brought emotion, humor, and depth to animated characters, but while the world sang along, Howard was quietly battling AIDS. Few at Disney knew the truth until his illness became impossible to hide. Even in his final months, he kept creating, finishing Beauty and the Beast from his hospital bed. When he died in 1991, he never saw the global success his music would achieve. Every song he wrote carried a piece of his soul, hope, love, and loss, wrapped in melody. Howard Ashman's legacy isn't just in fairy tales, it's in the courage of a man who gave joy to millions while fighting for his life behind the scenes. 11. Dak Rambo. Dak Rambo had everything: looks, talent, and fame. Known for his roles in Dallas and All My Children, he was one of television's most admired leading men. But behind his charming smile was a man carrying a heavy secret. When Dak was diagnosed with AIDS in the early 1990 seconds, he didn't hide. He came forward publicly, one of the first major TV actors to do so, at a time when the disease carried immense stigma. His honesty was revolutionary. Instead of retreating, he used his platform to spread awareness, showing others that dignity could exist even in tragedy. Though his career suffered for speaking out, Dak remained proud and unashamed until his final days. His bravery helped open conversations that Hollywood had long avoided, proving that true strength isn't found in fame, but in the courage to be real when the world turns away. 10. Brad Davis. Brad Davis was pure intensity. Best known for his unforgettable role in Midnight Express, he became a symbol of raw emotion and rebellion in Hollywood. But behind the powerful performances was a man struggling against both addiction and a deadly illness. When Brad learned he had AIDS, he chose not to go public, fearing the industry's rejection. But he also refused to let the disease define him. He continued working, loving, and living on his own terms. As his health declined, he fought for dignity, even helping his wife advocate for compassionate end-of-life choices. His death in 1991, at just 41, was heartbreaking, but his courage in facing the inevitable remains unforgettable. Brad Davis lived fiercely, acted fearlessly, and left a legacy that proved strength isn't about denial. It's about facing truth without losing your soul. 9. Gia Karanji. Before the world knew the names of Cindy, Naomi, or Christy, there was Gia Karanji, the wild, magnetic beauty who defined fashion's edge. Discovered as a teenager, she took over the modeling world in the late 1970 seconds, gracing magazine covers with her fierce eyes and rebellious charm. But fame came with a price. Behind the glamorous shoots were nights of loneliness and addiction that slowly consumed her. When she contracted AIDS in the mid-1980 seconds, the fashion industry turned its back. She died at just 26, one of the first female celebrities publicly known to succumb to the disease. Gia's story was tragic, but it forced the fashion world to confront the darker realities it had ignored. She wasn't just a model, she was a warning, a symbol of how fame can shine too bright and burn too fast. 8. Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett changed Broadway forever. As the creative mind behind a chorus line, he gave a voice to dancers who lived for the stage but were often overlooked. His choreography was electric, his storytelling full of truth and pain. Yet behind the curtain, Michael was facing his own battle, a diagnosis that would end his life far too early. When he learned he had AIDS, he stepped away from the spotlight, but never from his art. Even in his final days, he mentored young dancers, driven by passion, until his body couldn't keep up. He passed in 1987 at just 44, leaving behind a legacy that still inspires theater lovers around the world. Michael Bennett's life proved that creativity doesn't fade in the face of death. It burns even brighter when time is short. 7. Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe wasn't from Hollywood, but his story belongs among icons. A trailblazer in tennis, he broke barriers as the first black man to win Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. His composure and grace made him a symbol of dignity under pressure. In the 1,980 seconds, a tainted blood transfusion gave him HIV, a cruel twist of fate for someone who had lived so carefully. Instead of hiding, Arthur turned his illness into a platform for change, speaking out when silence was safer. He fought tirelessly for AIDS education and compassion, using his fame to humanize a disease surrounded by fear. When he passed in 1993, the world mourned not just a champion, but a true humanitarian. Arthur Ashe showed that greatness isn't about winning trophies, it's about lifting others, even when you're falling yourself. 6. Liberace was glitter, glamour, and grand pianos wrapped in rhinestones. He ruled Las Vegas with his charm, wit, and unmatched showmanship. Audiences adored him, his sparkle, his flair, his excess. But behind the flamboyant costumes was a man hiding a secret the world wasn't ready to accept. When rumors about his sexuality and illness began, Liberace denied them fiercely, terrified of losing his fame. Even as AIDS took its toll, he maintained his image of eternal youth and luxury. When he died in 1987, the truth couldn't stay buried. His passing forced Hollywood to confront its hypocrisy. The man who had made millions smile had died in silence and shame. Liberace's life remains a lesson in the price of fame and the loneliness of living behind a mask too heavy to remove. 5. Rudolf Nureyev. Rudolf Nureyev was a force of nature. Born in Soviet poverty, he defied the odds, defecting to the West and becoming one of the greatest ballet dancers of all time. His movements were fire-graceful yet explosive, commanding every stage he touched. But beneath the perfection was a man battling the ticking clock of AIDS. Even as his body weakened, Rudolf refused to stop performing. He danced until his legs could no longer lift him, his passion defying the disease, eating away at his strength. His diagnosis was kept quiet for years, hidden behind rehearsals and curtain calls. When he died in 1993, the ballet world lost its brightest flame. Nureyev's story isn't just about art, it's about defiance. The will to live beautifully, even when death stands in the wings. 4. Robert Reed. Robert Reed was America's perfect father as Mike Brady on The Brady Bunch, calm, loving, and wholesome. But real life was far more complicated. Behind the comforting smile was a man living with secrets, battling both his sexuality and, later, a deadly illness. In the conservative world of 1,970 seconds television, being gay could destroy a career, so Robert kept his truth locked away. When he was diagnosed with AIDS-related cancer, he stayed private, fearing judgment even in death. His passing in 1992 shocked fans who only knew the on-screen dad, not the man who had endured decades of hiding. Robert Reed's story reflects a generation forced to live in silence, talented, loved, but never truly seen. His quiet dignity still echoes through the laughter of a show that once symbolized family, even as he was denied one of his own. 3. Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury wasn't just a singer, he was a storm. The lead voice of Queen, he ruled stages with wild energy, unmatched talent, and pure theatrical fire. Behind the glitter, costumes, and confident swagger, Freddie was facing the unthinkable. When he was diagnosed with AIDS in the late 1,980 seconds, he chose privacy over pity. Yet his final years became some of his most creative, producing powerful music that hinted at his pain. The day before his death, he finally confirmed his illness to the world, then slipped away just hours later. His loss in 1991 stunned millions, but his voice never truly left. Songs like "The Show Must Go On" became an anthem of resilience, echoing his final message. Even as the body fades, art remains eternal. Freddie Mercury's flame burned too bright to ever go out. 2. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins terrified audiences as Norman Bates in Psycho, but his real-life fears were far more tragic. Behind his haunting performances was a man trapped between fame and secrecy. In Hollywood's golden era, being gay meant career suicide, so Anthony lived quietly, always careful, always watching. He married and had children, but the pressure of hiding his true self never lifted. When he contracted AIDS in the early 1990 seconds, he chose to face it privately, protecting his family from public scrutiny. Only after his death did the truth come out, revealing not shame, but deep humanity. Perkins spent his life playing characters haunted by secrets, never knowing he'd become one himself. His story is one of brilliance and restraint, a reminder of how fear can silence even the most talented voices. 1. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was the ultimate leading man, tall, handsome, and effortlessly charming. In the 1950 seconds and 1960 seconds, he defined masculinity, starring opposite Hollywood's biggest stars. Yet the image of the perfect romantic hero was built on illusion. Behind closed doors, Rock lived a secret life, fearing exposure in an industry that punished difference. When he was diagnosed with AIDS in 1984, he became the first major celebrity to publicly face the disease. His announcement shattered the silence, forcing the world to confront a reality it had ignored. The news stunned fans, changing the conversation around AIDS forever. When he died the following year, his bravery left an impact far beyond film. Rock Hudson's final act wasn't in front of a camera, it was his courage to be seen, even in his most vulnerable moment. Through that honesty, he became more than a star, he became a symbol of truth. These 20 icons lit up the world with their talent, charm, and brilliance. But behind the applause, they fought a silent battle that many were too afraid to face. Their deaths weren't just personal tragedies, they were turning points that forced Hollywood and the world to confront a terrifying truth. They showed that AIDS didn't discriminate, it touched actors, musicians, athletes, and artists alike. Each of them carried their pain with grace, leaving behind lessons in courage, honesty, and humanity that still echo today. But here's the question that lingers: how many more stories like theirs were buried by fear and silence? How many voices never got the chance to be heard? If you believe their stories deserve to live on, don't let them fade. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories that reveal the truth behind the fame.
Number 20. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was the epitome of the Hollywood leading man, handsome, strong, and adored by millions. But behind the picture-perfect image lay a devastating secret. He was battling AIDS. In the 1980s, when the disease was shrouded in fear and misunderstanding, Hudson's diagnosis was kept hidden from the public. His death in 1985 shattered the carefully constructed facade of Hollywood and opened the world's eyes to the deadly epidemic. Hudson's passing forced the entertainment industry to confront the harsh truth about AIDS, changing the way people viewed the disease forever. It wasn't just the loss of a beloved actor, it was the tragic end of a man who had to live a lie to survive in an unforgiving world. His death marked a turning point in Hollywood's silence about AIDS, leaving a legacy that still resonates today. Number 19. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins was the king of psychological horror, known worldwide for his chilling portrayal of Norman Bates in Psycho. But beneath the eerie charm of his on-screen persona, Perkins was hiding a secret that would eventually consume him. He had been living with HIV. Diagnosed in the late 1980s, Perkins kept his illness a closely guarded secret, continuing to work and maintain his public image until his health began to deteriorate. He died of AIDS-related pneumonia in 1992, just a few months after revealing his condition to the public. Perkins' death was a tragic reminder of the hidden battles many in Hollywood faced, living in fear of their careers being destroyed by the truth. His story is one of courage, pain, and a system that pushed its stars to the brink of silence. Number 18. Brad Davis. Brad Davis was a raw, intense actor, best known for his haunting role in Midnight Express. But behind his powerful performances, Davis was fighting a personal demon that would overshadow his career: a secret HIV diagnosis. Struggling with addiction and the stigma of being diagnosed with a disease that was still misunderstood, Davis fought to keep his private life hidden. His health deteriorated in the early 1990s, and he tragically died in 1991 at the age of 41. Davis's death was a painful reminder of the devastation AIDS brought to Hollywood's elite, leaving behind a legacy marked by both his incredible talent and the hidden battles he faced. His fight against the disease and the stigma that came with it was a battle fought in silence, one that ultimately claimed his life. Number 17. Denholm Elliott. Denholm Elliott was a beloved and respected actor, known for his roles in Indiana Jones and A Room with a View. On screen, he was the embodiment of the charming, seasoned professional. Off-screen, however, Elliott was silently battling AIDS. His death in 1992, after years of keeping his illness hidden, sent shockwaves through the film industry. Fans who had admired him for his wit, grace, and remarkable performances were blindsided by the tragic reality that had remained behind closed doors. Elliott's struggle was one shared by many in Hollywood, forced to live in the shadows due to the stigma of HIV. His death was not just a loss of talent, but a symbol of the unspeakable pain many faced in silence during that era. Number 16. Merritt Butrick. Merritt Butrick was a rising star, most famous for his role in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. But his career, filled with promise and potential, was tragically cut short when he was diagnosed with HIV. At just 29 years old, Butrick died of AIDS-related complications in 1989, leaving behind a legacy that never had the chance to fully unfold. His untimely death was a stark reminder of the young lives lost to the epidemic and how many bright futures were extinguished before they could shine. In Hollywood, where youth and beauty are often prized above all else, Butrick's passing marked a heartbreaking moment, revealing the devastating impact of a disease that didn't discriminate based on age or talent. Number 15. Dak Rambo. Dak Rambo was the picture of a television action hero, known for his roles in The Rookies and Dallas. But his life took a courageous turn when he publicly revealed his HIV status in the early 1990s, something few stars dared to do at the time. Rambo's bravery in the face of the disease shattered the silence surrounding AIDS in Hollywood. He continued to work despite his diagnosis, becoming an advocate for awareness and change. In 1994, Rambo passed away from complications related to AIDS, but his public revelation paved the way for others in Hollywood to come forward. His courage not only helped break the silence, but also gave voice to a community that had been silenced for too long. Number 14. Gene Anthony Ray. Best known as Leroy in Fame, Ray became an icon of raw energy and talent in the 1980s, but fame came fast and hit hard. Behind the scenes, Ray battled addiction, poverty, and the heavy burden of hiding who he was. When he died in 2003 at just 41, it was reported as a stroke, but the truth soon surfaced. AIDS had taken another star. His story was heartbreaking, a reflection of how stigma and silence crushed so many during the height of the epidemic. Ray had once danced like nothing could stop him, but in the end, it was the world's judgment and fear that caught up. Number 13. Michael Jeter. Michael Jeter, with his quirky charm and unforgettable presence, left his mark in films like Jurassic Park 3 and The Green Mile. Known for playing oddball roles with heart, he brought joy to millions. But behind the scenes, Jeter was living with HIV, something he kept private for most of his life. He eventually died in 2003 from AIDS-related complications, and the news stunned his fans. The man who could bring a scene to life with just a glance was gone too soon. Jeter's death was another blow to an industry that had already lost so many to the same silent killer. Number 12. Anthony Hamilton. He had the look, the talent, and the charm, but AIDS brought his rise to a heartbreaking stop. Anthony Hamilton was a rising star in the 1980s and 1990s, known for his handsome looks and strong screen presence. He had all the makings of a Hollywood leading man, but just as his career was picking up, Hamilton was diagnosed with HIV. Opportunities began to vanish, and soon his life spiraled out of the spotlight. He died in 1995, barely making a ripple in an industry that had once welcomed him. Hamilton's death was another quiet tragedy, the kind Hollywood kept in the shadows. He could have been the next big thing, but instead, he became another name lost to silence. Number 11. Tom Fuccello. Fuccello was a familiar face on television, especially in soap operas and action-packed shows throughout the 70s and 80s. With rugged charm and a steady presence, he seemed unstoppable. But in the early 90s, his life took a tragic turn when he was diagnosed with AIDS. He passed away in 1993, and like so many others, his death was largely ignored by the industry. Fuccello was part of a generation of actors whose lives were quietly stolen by a disease Hollywood refused to talk about. His story reminds us that behind every polished headshot and action role, there was often a man fighting a terrifying and lonely battle. Number 10. Tom Villard. He wasn't just another face in horror and action. Tom Villard was one of the few brave enough to speak the truth. Villard starred in cult favorites and thrillers, building a steady career in Hollywood. But in the early 1990s, when most were still silent, he made the courageous choice to publicly reveal his AIDS diagnosis. It was rare, it was bold, and it was risky. He appeared on television and spoke openly, hoping to change minds in an era filled with fear and misinformation. Sadly, Villard died in 1994, but not before becoming a symbol of strength and honesty. His voice helped open the door for others to speak. In a town built on make-believe, Tom Villard chose truth. Number 9. Steve Tracy. Best known as Percival Dalton on Little House on the Prairie, Tracy brought warmth and depth to the screen. But beyond the family-friendly roles, he was fighting something far more serious. Diagnosed with AIDS in the mid-1980s, Tracy faced the illness head-on during a time when very few did. He died in 1986, one of the earliest public figures in Hollywood to succumb to the disease. His passing deeply affected co-stars and fans alike. Tracy's death wasn't just a loss. It was a wake-up call. He lived and died in a world that made it dangerous, to be honest. But even in silence, his courage spoke volumes. Number 8. Kevin Peter Hall. Standing over 7 feet tall, Hall was unforgettable as the fearsome predator in Predator and the gentle giant in Harry and the Hendersons. But his towering presence couldn't protect him from a tragic twist of fate. After receiving a blood transfusion following a car accident, Hall contracted HIV. It wasn't something he could have seen coming, and it wasn't something he could beat. In 1991, he died of AIDS-related pneumonia at just 35 years old. His death was sudden, shocking, and deeply unfair. The man who brought monsters to life on screen was taken by a monster the world still didn't fully understand. Number 7. Robert Reed. As Mike Brady on The Brady Bunch, Robert Reed was the image of the perfect father. But beyond the wholesome scripts and fatherly advice, Reed lived a life full of silent struggles. He appeared in many action-packed TV roles over the years, showing off a range that fans often overlooked. In 1992, he died of colon cancer, but it was later revealed that he was also HIV positive. The truth stunned fans and castmates alike. Reed had kept his illness and his sexuality hidden from the world, knowing that one revelation could destroy everything he had built. His death was a tragic reminder of how fear and stigma forced even the most beloved stars into silence. Number 6. Howard Rollins Jr. He was a rising star with undeniable talent. But Howard Rollins Jr.'s career and life unraveled in the shadows. best known for his role in the Heat of the Night, Rollins brought power and grace to every performance. He earned critical acclaim early on, even an Oscar nomination, and seemed destined for long-lasting fame. But personal demons soon crept in: addiction, legal troubles, and a growing health crisis. In 1996, Rollins died from AIDS-related complications. At just 46, his story ended far too soon. The once promising actor had battled not just illness, but also an industry that wasn't ready to face the truth. His fall from stardom wasn't just a personal tragedy. It reflected how Hollywood often turned its back on those it didn't want to understand. Number 5. John Curry. After winning Olympic gold in 1976, Curry became a global sensation. His artistry and athleticism broke boundaries in the sports world. But behind the graceful performances was a man hiding his truth. As one of the first major athletes to be openly gay, Curry faced harsh criticism and rejection. In the early 90s, he was diagnosed with AIDS, and his health quickly declined. He died in 1994, just 44 years old. Though not a Hollywood action star in the traditional sense, Curry's influence reached far into the entertainment world. His death was another painful reminder of the toll the epidemic took on brilliant, brave souls who dared to be different. Number 4. Klaus Nomi. With his alien-like appearance and operatic voice, Nomi wasn't your typical Hollywood figure, yet his performances captivated audiences, blending music, theater, and film in ways no one had seen before. As his fame grew in the early 80s, so did a mysterious illness that doctors couldn't explain. It was AIDS, at a time when the world barely knew its name. In 1983, Klaus Nomi became one of the first celebrities to die from AIDS-related complications. He was just 39. His death shook the arts community and highlighted how the disease didn't care about fame or talent. Nomi's life was full of color, drama, and defiance, and yet it ended in silence. Number 3. Paul Shenar. In films like Scarface and The Secret of NIMH, Shenar brought unforgettable intensity to his roles. He was the kind of actor who stole scenes with just a glance, but while the cameras loved his dark charisma, Shenar kept his real life carefully hidden. In 1989, he died of AIDS-related complications, just as his career was gaining real traction. His death was quiet, barely making headlines. Another example of how Hollywood buried uncomfortable truths. Paul Shenar deserved more roles, more recognition, more time, but the silence around his illness speaks volumes about an era too afraid to speak at all. Number 2. Charles Ludlam. Ludlam wasn't your average actor. He was bold, flamboyant, and unapologetically outrageous. As the creator of the ridiculous theatrical company, he challenged norms and blended drama, comedy, and activism in unforgettable ways. He crossed into film and TV, leaving an unmistakable mark. But in 1987, Ludlam died of AIDS-related complications at just 44 years old. His passing wasn't just a loss to the stage, it was a gut punch to the entire creative world. Ludlam had dared to live openly and honestly when so few could. His art demanded attention, but even someone as loud and fearless as Ludlam couldn't drown out the silence that surrounded AIDS at the time. Number 1. Liberace. Few performers lit up a room like Liberace. With glittering costumes and a showman's flair, he was one of the most famous entertainers in the world. But despite his flamboyant persona, Liberace never publicly acknowledged his sexuality. When he died in 1987, the official cause was heart failure. But the truth came out. He had died from AIDS-related complications. His family denied it at first, desperate to protect the image he had carefully built. It was only after pressure from the press that the truth was finally confirmed. Liberace's story is one of tragic irony, a man who lived in the spotlight yet couldn't live his truth. These 20 action icons didn't just face a deadly disease. They faced a society that turned its back on them, an industry that demanded silence, and a legacy that could have vanished in the shadows. How many more stars lived in fear, their truth buried with them? If this moved you, don't let their stories fade. Like, comment, and share to keep their names alive, and make sure the world remembers what they were really fighting for. Number 20. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was the epitome of Hollywood's golden boy, the ruggedly handsome heartthrob adored by millions. But behind the flawless exterior, Hudson harbored a secret that could have destroyed his career if it ever got out. In a time when being gay meant instant ruin, Hudson's relationships with men were kept hidden from the public eye. The studios worked tirelessly to maintain his ladies' man image, feeding the public's desire for a perfect, all-American star. But when AIDS tragically claimed his life, the truth finally came crashing into the spotlight. His death exposed a life lived in fear, a secret so carefully guarded that it couldn't be hidden forever. Rock Hudson's story wasn't just about stardom, it was about survival in a world that demanded silence. Number 19. Cary Grant. Cary Grant, with his impeccable charm and debonair looks, was the definition of a ladies' man. But behind closed doors, his closest relationship was with fellow actor Randolph Scott, sparking rumors that would follow him for decades. The world saw a suave, sophisticated heartthrob on the screen, but the truth was far more complex. Despite the Hollywood studios working overtime to protect his public persona, whispers of Grant's true sexual orientation never truly disappeared. It wasn't just the public's fascination with his on-screen romances, it was the untold story behind the scenes. The pressure to maintain his straight image weighed heavily on Grant, who never publicly confirmed the rumors. His personal life remained a well-guarded secret, but the question remains, how much of his life was truly his own? Number 18. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando was more than just a screen legend. He was an enigma. His performances were raw, intense, and unforgettable, but they hid a much deeper personal story. Brando was known for his passionate relationships with both men and women, yet he never publicly confirmed the rumors that swirled around his sexuality. Hollywood's biggest bad boy was also a man who had to play by the industry's rules, which meant hiding parts of himself that would have ruined him. Brando's private life was a labyrinth of contradictions, one that his fans never fully understood. His story remains one of Hollywood's greatest mysteries. Was he just a genius actor, or was there a truth lurking beneath the surface that he couldn't reveal? Number 17. Peter Lawford. Peter Lawford, the charming member of the Rat Pack, was a man of many faces. On the outside, he exuded sophistication, mingling with Hollywood's elite and maintaining his position as a beloved heartthrob. But his true self was something else entirely. Lawford's private life was a well-kept secret. He had relationships with both men and women, yet his public persona never hinted at this hidden reality. The studios worked hard to protect his image, knowing that any exposure could have been career-ending. Lawford's suave socialite persona was a carefully crafted illusion, one that hid his truth behind the curtains of Hollywood's glittering facade. What was the cost of living in the closet for so long? His career was built on secrecy and survival. Number 16. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was the swashbuckling hero everyone adored. The charming, fearless man of action who captured the hearts of audiences worldwide. But behind the scenes, his life was anything but simple. Flynn's flamboyant personality and close bonds with male friends fueled rumors that he was far more than just a ladies' man. He was a man living a double life, playing the role of the heartthrob while concealing his true identity. Hollywood may have celebrated his on-screen exploits, but Flynn's personal life was filled with complexities that couldn't be erased. He was forced to wear a mask, one that hid the real man beneath the bravado. Could the true Errol Flynn have been just as iconic had the world known the real story? Number 15. James Mason. James Mason's career was built on sophistication and suave charm, but the man behind the roles remained a mystery. Known for his portrayal of cultured, polished characters, Mason's personal life was a tightly guarded secret. His friendships with men, some of them notably close, sparked speculation about his sexuality. Yet Mason never spoke about it. He never confirmed the whispers. In Hollywood, where public perception was everything, Mason kept his truth hidden, fearing the consequences of revealing his true self. The industry had a way of burying the most uncomfortable truths, and for Mason, silence was his shield. His story remains a quiet testament to the price of secrecy in a world where image was everything. Number 14, Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster was the quintessential tough guy, rugged, masculine, and the perfect leading man in every sense. On the outside, he lived the dream: powerful roles, a beloved star status, and a reputation as a ladies' man. But privately, Lancaster's life was far more complex. His sexual orientation was a subject of whispers and rumors within Hollywood circles, yet the man himself never addressed it publicly. Lancaster lived in the shadow of his public persona, keeping his true self under wraps to protect his career. The price of fame in a time of deep societal restrictions meant silence, and Lancaster paid that price every day. What would his legacy have looked like if the truth had come to light? Number 13, Anthony Quinn. Anthony Quinn was the powerful force behind some of Hollywood's most iconic roles, known for his performances in Zorba the Greek and Lawrence of Arabia. But while his career soared, his personal life remained a closely guarded secret. Although he was married twice, rumors of his romantic liaisons with men circulated in whispers. Quinn's story was one of survival, as he kept his private life tightly sealed, knowing that any hint of his true identity could have shattered his career. Hollywood wasn't kind to those who strayed from the expected norms, and Quinn understood the stakes. His truth was never fully revealed, leaving his personal story to remain one of Hollywood's many untold secrets. Number 12, Cesar Romero. Cesar Romero may have been Hollywood's original Latin lover, but his real life was far more complicated than his on-screen personas suggested. Best known for playing the Joker in the 1960s Batman series, Romero was adored by fans for his smooth charm and good looks. Yet, despite his on-screen romantic roles, Romero never married, and rumors about his sexuality dogged him throughout his life. He never publicly addressed the speculation, choosing instead to live his life in secrecy. His fame as a ladies' man may have been a carefully cultivated image, but the true story of his life remains a mystery, hidden behind the mask of Hollywood's expectations. What drove Romero to keep his truth buried for so long? Number 11, Ramon Novarro. Ramon Novarro was one of Hollywood's brightest stars during the silent film era, a heartthrob who captivated audiences with his charm and talent. But his rise to fame was also marked by a painful secret. Novarro's Mexican heritage, combined with his hidden sexuality, made his Hollywood journey perilous. In an industry where public image was everything, Novarro was forced to live a double life, concealing his true identity to protect his career. The pressures of hiding who he truly was eventually caught up with him, leading to a tragic end. Novarro's story is one of heartbreak, as the world saw a star but never truly understood the man behind the screen. Number 10, Sal Mineo. Sal Mineo lit up the screen in Rebel Without a Cause, capturing hearts with his intensity and vulnerability. But behind that rising star was a young man living in fear. For years, Mineo kept his sexuality hidden, terrified that the truth would end his career. In a time when even a whisper could destroy everything, he played the game, smiling for the cameras, hiding his reality. Later in life, he finally came out, but it was a brave step taken after years of isolation and secrecy. Tragically, his life ended too soon, just as he was stepping into his truth. what might have been had Hollywood let him live openly from the start. Number 9. Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift was one of the most brilliant actors of his time, but also one of the most haunted. His striking good looks and emotional depth made him a star, yet his personal life was marked by silent suffering. Clift's relationships with men were an open secret in Hollywood, but never spoken of publicly. He lived behind a mask, torn between who he was and who the world expected him to be. The emotional toll was visible in his performances, raw with pain and vulnerability. Clift never came out before his death, leaving behind a legacy of both genius and tragedy. Could he have survived the truth at a different time? Number 8. Tab Hunter. Tab Hunter had the look, the charm, and the adoration of millions. But his life was a script written by the studio, not one he could call his own. In the 1950s, Hunter was a teen idol, the boy every girl dreamed of. Behind the scenes, though his sexuality was carefully hidden, studio executives staged fake romances and media appearances to sell the fantasy, knowing that one wrong move could end his career. The fear was constant, the pressure suffocating. Hunter eventually told his story, but only decades later. His truth was buried under decades of deceit. How many others lived the same lie? Number 7. Van Johnson. Van Johnson, the golden boy of the silver screen, was known for his wholesome, all-American charm, but there was always something the cameras didn't catch. Johnson's private life was the subject of hushed whispers. Rumors of secret relationships with men swirled around him for years. Yet he never addressed them, choosing to protect his carefully built image. In a Hollywood that demanded conformity, Johnson played the role expected of him, but the price was steep. How much of himself did he have to sacrifice to stay in the spotlight? Number 6. Richard Chamberlain. Richard Chamberlain was the heartthrob of millions, especially in his roles in Dr. Kildare and the Thornbirds. But for decades, he lived a double life. Chamberlain's sexuality was a carefully guarded secret, locked away for fear that the truth would destroy his career. He smiled for the cameras, gave interviews about women, and hid a part of himself for years. Only later in life did he come out, long after the industry could hurt him. His story is one of survival, but also sorrow. How different could his life have been if he hadn't been forced to hide? Number 5. George Nader. George Nader had it all: the looks, the talent, the screen presence to be a leading man, but one truth ended everything. When Nader was outed, his Hollywood dream came crashing down. Roles vanished, and the industry turned its back on him. His career was in a heartbeat, a reminder of how brutal and unforgiving the system could be. Nader never denied who he was. He simply paid the price for it. What does that say about the world he worked so hard to belong to? Number 4. Dirk Bogarde. Dirk Bogarde was a British film icon, known for his polished charm and striking performances. But his greatest relationship, his lifelong partnership with his manager, was never acknowledged publicly. Bogarde lived a life of subtle defiance, refusing to marry or conform, yet never revealing the truth either. For decades, he dodged questions, kept up appearances, and let the world believe what it wanted. Only after his death did many begin to piece together the truth of his hidden love. In the shadows of fame, how many secrets went to the grave with him? Number 3. Farley Granger. Farley Granger, best remembered for his role in Hitchcock's Rope, lived a life balanced on a knife's edge. Within his close circle, he was open about his relationships with men, but to the public, he wore a different face. Granger never officially came out, caught between acceptance in private and silence in the spotlight. Hollywood was a world of illusion, and Granger was forced to live in one of the greatest illusions of all. How does a man stay true to himself when the world demands a lie? Number 2. William Haynes. William Haynes was a trailblazer long before the world was ready. In the 1920s, he was one of Hollywood's top stars and openly gay among friends. But when the studios told him to choose between his career and his relationship, Haynes chose love. He walked away from fame rather than deny the man he loved. His stardom vanished, but he built a new life as a successful interior designer, staying true to himself until the end. Haynes didn't just survive, he thrived. Could there be a more powerful act of defiance? Number 1. Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr captivated audiences as the brilliant attorney in Perry Mason, but his off-screen life was one of carefully crafted lies. Burr never married, but that didn't stop studios from inventing stories. Fabricated wives, tragic deaths, and cover-ups, all to protect his secret. Behind the curtain, Burr had a longtime partner, but their relationship was kept hidden from the public eye. Hollywood demanded perfection, and Burr gave it, at the cost of his truth. How many stories were rewritten just to fit the mold? These stars were forced to live behind masks, hiding who they truly were in a world that didn't accept them. But their stories also remind us of the power of resilience and the price of being true to oneself. In the end, their legacies are not just defined by their on-screen roles, but by their courage to live life on their terms. Who knows what might have happened if the world had been ready to accept them for who they were. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want more untold stories from Hollywood's past. Stay curious.